Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Now, as you know, today we are the month of May, and for those of you who don't know, May is Borderline Personality Disorder Awareness Month. So to kick off the month and do something fun, I thought that it would be interesting to talk about the history of BPD. The term borderline was first coined in 1938 by psychoanalyst Adolf Stern, who believed that patients who exhibited these borderline type symptoms were on the border or on the edge of psychosis, so having this disconnection from reality, this delusion, this association, and neurosis, which refers to symptoms of anxiety and depression. And more specifically, he believed that these individuals were bordering on the line of schizophrenia. By the 1970s, a deeper understanding of BPD started to emerge when psychoanalyst Otto Kernberg described the term borderline as referring to this middle of organization of personality between psychosis and neurosis. So he described these people with this borderline middle level personality organization as using more primitive defense mechanisms, so things like splitting, like describing things as good and bad, so this very black or white thinking that we do see in this common notion of BPD that we understand today. So there's a lot more commonality between Kernberg's understanding or conceptualization of BPD and the simple fact also that he started to understand this as a personality organization type rather than individuals verging or altering between neurosis and psychosis. With time, clinicians began to realize that there was a pattern of symptoms emerging from these clients who were suffering from this borderline type organization. So things like an unclear and unstable sense of self, a fear of abandonment, mood swings, and self-harm. And this pattern of symptoms that was emerging helped clinicians understand that this was in fact a personality disorder that was consistent through time, that couldn't be treated in the same way that we see neurosis, that couldn't be treated in the same way that we see psychosis. And it wasn't until the early 1980s that borderline personality disorder was accepted as a psychological term within the DSM-III, and then later on it was added to the cluster B personality disorders alongside histrionic, narcissistic, and antisocial personality disorders. The most prominent views and studies and conceptualizations that we hold of BPD today is thanks to Marsha Linehan, which developed a special type of therapy in 1993 for folks who have BPD referred to as dialectical behavior therapy. I'll just link one of my previous videos up here that really details what this therapy is. But essentially, Linehan's biosocial model rests on the premise that individuals who have BPD are born with a genetic sensitivity to react more intensely, more easily to external or internal stimuli. This sensitivity, so this biological sensitivity that these folks hold, paired with an invalidating environment, is what is really the contributing factor to the development of BPD. While BPD has been recognized as a disorder since the 1980s, there has been debate over time from clinicians on whether or not the name is appropriate and whether or not it should be changed. If we think about the name itself, borderline personality disorder, it is potentially stigmatizing for the simple reason that this name derives from this original belief that clients who experienced these patterns were actually verging on the line between neurosis and psychosis, which is really inaccurate. Clinicians also debate that perhaps instead of referring to this as a personality disorder, it should be referred to as a mood disorder. There have been suggestions which have been proposed for a different alternative for names, so things like emotional intensity disorder or emotional dysregulation disorder. I know that in the UK they actually use a different name to refer to BPD, and so this is an ongoing discussion, an ongoing debate as to whether or not the name of this disorder should be changed. I hope you enjoyed this video that talked about the brief history of BPD and how the term and the concept of it has evolved throughout the years in our society. And as I mentioned, I'm curious to know what you think about this whole name-changing debate. Do you think that we should change it, yes or no? And if yes, what do you think is a more appropriate name? Leave a comment in the comments down below so that I could read them and others could see how they feel about this whole topic. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with me today. I wish you all an awesome week, and I wish you, most importantly, all an awesome BPD Awareness Month.